I am speaking with Rob Wilkinson, who is fighting Dovechkin Yagshimuradov on August 16th, PFL 8 in Hollywood, Florida, as the PFL playoffs get underway. Rob, the cliche question always comes first. So, how are you feeling ahead of this one? How has camp been?
Yeah, feeling good. Camp just kind of builds off the last fight. It was only 8 weeks apart, so had a week off and did a little road trip, and then straight back to work.
And you told me before you're in Denver right now. You've been out there before. Is it the altitude that you find helps you out there? What is it about Denver in particular that attracted you?
It was the first year I was fighting in the PFL in 2022. I had my first fight for my home gym in Hobart, Australia, but our gym's kind of like I was the highest level guy there really, and one of the bigger guys. Um, There, and I thought it was just a good idea to kind of go to a bigger high level gym with some big really good light heavyweights and middleweights to train with. And in Denver, just thought it was like a cool spot. I like getting out and doing hikes and getting out into nature and that sort of stuff. So it's a good spot for me to be able to go do that in my downtime.
Good stuff. Well, we're coming into some big ones now for the PFL. Obviously, the semifinals, and you've been here before. You did go the distance. With that experience under your belt, is there anything you are doing differently this season?
No, not really. I think 2022, as you said, I've done it before and I won that title. And so just doing the same sort of stuff. But I think the biggest thing is just making sure you're kind of managing that fatigue and and that rest during the season and not doing too much overtraining and getting run down and sick. So making sure, I do have a little bit of time off after each fight, even if I'm fighting again, 8 weeks later. And then just listening to my body, if I'm feeling like I'm getting run down or sick, maybe take a couple of days off. You don't need to smash yourself constantly. I'm fit from the last fight. I'm just kind of building on top of that.
For people who haven't experienced it, or for fans who obviously haven't fought at all, how more grueling is the PFL schedule compared to other promotions where you might have fights more spaced out?
Yeah, it's definitely hard. You don't get in all the other promotions, you might get called up by a manager and get offered a fight on a date, or you might tell them roughly when you're looking to fight, and you can easily say yes or no. Obviously, you don't want to say no too many times, but you can say no. You can make an excuse. You could be injured. You could be sick. Whatever it is, you could just say you want to fight a month or two later. PFL, you're fighting on this date. You're fighting against this opponent. There's no yes or no. There's just, if there's a no, you're not in the tournament. So you just got to say yes and turn up to those fights. I do like the format. I do like that, after the first fight, you've trained for a fight, you've got ready, you're fit, and then you kind of can just build on that. You don't have to be too stressed about getting into, fight shape. You kind of just game planning and keep improving for your next opponent.
Um, oh, you froze for a second, but you're back now. I'm going to ask you this real quick because we've spoken before. You've addressed this before, the drug test failure. As you enter the playoffs, though, do you kind of look at this as a redemption opportunity where if anybody is questioning the legitimacy of that first title win, you can go through this again now under USADA and say, look, I am the guy who can win this all. This is me. It's not any kind of boost that I got from anything outside.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking. I think the first fight back in the PFL this year, that was a year off from fighting, and obviously coming off that suspension, I was keen to get back in there and just go out and do what I've always done in the PFL, and that's exactly what I did. I went out there, went forward, and got the finish pretty early, and then kind of I felt like after that I can start, putting that mistake I made behind me and just moving forward. Now I've 2 fights into this year. I've got 2 more to go, and obviously that world title is the goal, and as you said, like winning that. I don't know if there's whatever naysayers, and there's always going to be naysayers and people talking shit and whatever, and that doesn't bother me. But winning that can maybe shut them up, but most likely they'll still find a way to talk shit. But who cares? I'm doing what I love, and I'm doing what makes me happy, and I just want to go out there and win another world championship.
Well, in doing so, when you look at the light heavyweight division this season, it's definitely the hottest division in the PFL right now, arguably the deepest it's ever been. You're back. You've got these Bellator recruits, let's call them, coming in, and then that first card of the season where everybody gets a finish. The second one was solid as well, hotly contested race. I mean, I know you've got to kind of focus on your opponents, but did you overall kind of feel that excitement level?
Yeah, for sure. I think the light heavyweight division is the most stacked it's been this year. And it's exciting. You know, I mean, we've talked about it a lot. We had lots of champions. We had three former PFL, four PFL world champions. We had a PFL Europe champion, all in the division. So, you know, five of us had been champions before. And yeah, it's a stacked division. You know, obviously Impa is a champion from last year. He's still in it. Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting.
And now, of course, you've got the Ovechkin, Yag a Bellator guy coming in. He fought in their Grand Prix. He's got 2 wins this year, one finish, one decision. You've got your 2 finishes. First of all, it's hard to imagine you're anything but satisfied with your season when you go out and finish 2 fights. But did you take anything away from those fights? Anything that you wanted to tweak?
I didn't get I got a decision win in the last fight, not a finish as well. But
That's right. That's right.
that's
Still,
it's used to be getting finishes. Yeah, I wasn't super happy with my performance in my last fight, but you know, I did what I had to on the night to go get that win. And I think Josh fought a very good fight. But yeah, that's motivated me, and that was kind of a kick up the butt. You know, it was a close fight, and to go out there and you know, keep improving and bringing what I know I can bring to the table, and get in there and go after that finish.
and then when you look at Ovechkin coming in, I mean, what is your take on him? From what you've seen of him, what are you expecting to see come August 16th?
Yeah, man, he's a good fighter. Obviously, he's had about 30 fights. Um, Powerful striker, very fast for a light heavyweight. Kind of likes to dart in and out a bit more, you know, explode with his big shots and then back out. Also got good wrestling. You know, he showed in his last fight, he took the guy down and was able to control him in that last round. So, I mean, as I expect, all the guys are going to be fighting at this level are going to be good and they're going to be well rounded. But yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting fight.
And of course, the winner here moves on to the final in November. The other side of the bracket, I imagine you're going to have your eye on it, and you've got Impa Kasanganay there, who is a former champ like yourself. I mean, how do you see that other fight going? Do you think it's going to come down to the champ versus champ at the end of the year?
I'd love it too. Yeah, I think that's the biggest fight that the PFL could ask for. The biggest fight I can have this year would be fighting Impa for the title, for the world title. So I think that's going to be a lot closer fight. I think Josh has improved a lot since his last fight with Impa in the final last year. You know, Impa just got dropped and got hurt in his last fight as well, and then he's got a quick turnaround. Obviously, he looked like he recovered very well in the fight, but you never know how that kind of carries on leading to the next fight only 8 weeks later. But I think it's going to be a close fight. I think Impa will probably get it done again. But yeah,
Well, looking forward to the card. There's a few things to look forward to in the PFL season right now, and obviously they've launched PFL Europe. They've launched PFL MENA, Middle East, North Africa, and we've got PFL Africa coming eventually. And before that, Francis Ngannou and Hanan Ferreira, sometime from the sounds of it later this year. I'm going to ask you for your prediction in that fight because I think a lot of people initially would have said, well, Francis, because it's Francis, but he's had some time away and he had the struggles in boxing. So do you think Hanan Ferreira can upset him?
I mean, they're heavyweights. They're both huge guys. Well, I think I don't even know how tall he is. He's like 6'6". He's obviously got a big reach. There definitely can be an upset. I'd still have my money on Francis. Sure, he got knocked out in boxing against one of the best boxers in the world, and it's a different sport. But yeah, obviously that's going to be an exciting fight. But I'd still have my money on Francis. He's a scary motherfucker.
Absolutely. That is going to come on a super fight card. And I was curious about your thoughts on your future in that regard. We've heard, from various fighters, if you win the PFL championship, you got to come back and do another season. This is another season for you. Moving forward, are you thinking of doing further seasons in the season format, or would the super fight cards and one-off fights appeal to you at all?
That definitely appeals to me. That's something I'll definitely kind of discuss with my team and manager and everything after this year. Obviously, the goal is to win the title again this year. But I think looking forward into my future, like I don't think I'd be able to do too many more years of doing the tournament. It's a hard season to do. Fighting 4 times in 8, 9 months is very hard on your body and mentally as well. So yeah, I think if I did it again, maybe one more year next year, but otherwise, I'd definitely be interested in maybe just doing some super fights. Obviously, they have the best champion with the Bellator. Potentially, just do that, and then maybe 1 or 2 fights in their pay-per-view cards. Yeah, that would be exciting as well.
Definitely. And obviously, Bellator kind of opens a whole world of possibilities with the PFL having them. We saw that earlier this year in the Champs versus Champs card. Are you hoping they make that kind of an annual thing? There's been differing talks about whether Bellator will eventually be merged in or stay separate. Would you like to see that like an annual thing, Champ versus Champ?
Yeah, I think it's exciting. I think everyone likes watching those kind of events. 2 champions from different organizations. That's always exciting. And the belt they kind of put up with it with the ring attached. That was all exciting. I'd love to get one of them wrapped around my waist. So yeah, I think they'll keep doing that. I think keeping Bellator running as well, I think is a good idea because in the PFL structure, you only have 10 fighters in each division in the tournament in the season. So I think keeping Bellator open, and then you can kind of have people coming and going. People who aren't going to do the tournament can be fighting for Bellator, or coming in, and I think it keeps it exciting, and you're able to keep a larger roster of fighters as well.
Definitely keeps the options there for the guys. I'm going to ask you one more before I let you go, Rob. I want to thank you again for the time today. Just, come August 16th, the semifinals. How do you see this fight playing out? Do you have a prediction?
I'm always looking for a finish, and I'll be, I didn't get one last fight, so I'm definitely going to be keen to go out there and get a finish this fight. I think it's going to be a good fight. I think he's a very good fighter. Good stand-up war going.
Well, looking forward to it. I want to thank you again for the time today. Looking forward to PFL 8, August 16th, Hollywood, Florida. Best of luck in the fight, Rob. You have a good one.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks for that.
You're very welcome. Have a great day.